Okay, we're live.
Very nice.
All right, so tell me, man, what were you just talking about?
Well, we're just going through the motions of getting ourselves back into shape, rehabbing the temple, right? Cleaning up house. The previous owners of my temple, right? We're doing a very good job, and so now that I'm back in the gym, it's just getting over my fears. My fears of the pain that comes with working out, right? It's studied like anything, and before I remember that I could barely walk and move, and I was always sore and just stiff and all those things, and I was afraid of it because in my younger days no one really walked me through it, and so now I understand in my experience that it's just part of growth. I know that if I'm sore, it's because I'm growing, right?
Okay, so how do you get to that point where you're like sore? You know what I mean? How do you get to that point where you're so jacked up you just know that you're starting to build muscle?
Oh man, well, the way we look at the muscles, I mean, we can get real technical with it, but I'll try to keep it basic. As a holistic health professional, I understand the anatomy and physiology part of it, and so we have these muscle fibers, right? And so we have the fast twitch muscle fibers, and then we have our just regular muscle fibers, and then so what I'm doing right now is I get to a point where I test my body to see where I'm at physically, as far as the weight that I can put pressure on, like, let's say for my chest as an example. And so when I'm on the bench, well, I know that I'm activating the chest muscles, and so how much weight can I put on the chest muscles and keep proper form, right? Because it's important to keep proper form, because what's the point of lifting 200 pounds but I'm not working out the chest? I'm working out everything else because I'm bending and twisting in all different directions to try to get the weight up. And so what we have found, and this is years of experience with bodybuilders and really
clinically verified and all that.
Clinically verified, absolutely. These are people that have done it. I mean, we can go straight to one of the greatest sources of all time, Arnold Schwarzenegger, right?
Right.
So I mean, I don't know what the legality is for us to use his name and all those things, but these are people that are known, and so anyways, the whole deal is that when we're in the gym, we're there to work out these muscle fibers, and so we get to a point where we're pushing this weight, and we're putting the stress on these muscle fibers, and so I always want to keep it, somewhere around 6, 7, 8 reps in a session, in a set, right? And so I know that I'm pushing, whatever the weight is just a mean to an end. It doesn't matter wherever I'm at. And I want to be able to make sure that I'm focusing on that. And so once I reach failure and I feel, the weakness in the muscle, that I'm losing strength in the muscle, I know that I'm tearing into muscle, because the body always wants to survive. It wants to get this weight off of you, right? It's like, I need to get this off of me. And so then it's like, okay.
Is that where they call the natural weight? So you're going to your natural weight?
Yeah, that's part of it. Because with going through your natural weight, what happens with your natural weight is that the body is going to create muscles to be able to sustain whatever pressures you're giving. That's the bottom line, right? So if you weigh 180 pounds and you're doing just body movement exercises, then your body is going to be able to create muscle based off of your body mass or your body weight, and that's, you're going to be able to put yourself around like that. That's why people are able to do the things that they do, like back flips and front flips and jumps and all kinds of crazy stuff with their bodies, because they've been able to create more muscle strength than what their body weight is, right?
Right.
And so yeah.
Yeah, like so today, Fonz, I went to the gym and I followed your program, you know, almost to the T. You know, I did my own exercises, but you know, as far as the sets and the reps that you told me to do, I did start with that. So what I did start with was the bench press. Okay. And then I did a set of 11 because I was able to put it up. But like almost to that last you know, rep that that you want. But again, I was working out by myself and I didn't have, you know, so I wanted to be able to still to do it. So what I did was I put the 130, I had 135, which is 245-pound plates, and then a 10-pound on each side. And I just used that as my weight that I knew I would have to go down and down and down. And, you know, in reps at least, but I was able to use that weight the entire time. So I think the first one I did 11, the next one I did 10, the next one I did like 8, and the last one I did 5.
Okay.
I think it was 7, and the last one was 5. So, and now right there, you know, that's where I kind of like wanted my baseline to be, or what I always thought my baseline to be. I want to create that so it's light for me. How do I do that?
Well, see, that's the thing is that you're going to make the next weight lighter. You go through a progression, and it's a sliding scale, or it's scaling up, right? So it's scaling up. So let's just say, as an example, just a base weight, let's just say 100 pounds, right? So you're able to push. We're talking about bench right now. So we're able to bench the 100 pounds up to 10 times. It's just like we're looking for failure, right? On our first set, we're looking to really, you know, use the energy that we have for the first set. So then, what's going to create the strength is that now you're going to start calling on new muscle fibers because you're going into your next set. You're trying to push the same. The reason that we go down is because we're not fully balanced. We haven't fully balanced that muscle yet, right? So we should be able to go a full, let's say if we're going 4 sets, we should be able to go a full 4 sets at 10 with the weight that we have. If we're able to push the weight the first 10 times, we should be able to go all the way across, and that's going to create a solid foundation, right? And so once we get to that point, you will start to see that the first set, we can go more than 10. We can go 11, 12, 13, 14 reps. So then what does that mean? That means we're gauging ourselves, and we know now that we're stronger, because now we have to add more stress to the muscle to be able to stay right around 9 or 10. Our goal is 10, right?
Right.
So,
okay. So you want to do, the goal should be, now that I made that baseline and I'm strong enough, I can do 4 sets and I don't have to drop any weight in order to, you know, to at least get a good pump. So now I don't have to do that. So now you're saying is to use that weight until I can get 10 on the first set, 10 on the second set, 10 on the third, and then 10 on the fourth. And then I can move up in weight.
That's yes, you can, because the whole idea here, the idea behind this type of workout is we're building muscle. The focus is to build muscle right now on this workout. If we're doing other things, depending on your athleticism, depending on what you're doing, right? And what's important is to know why we're doing it, right? So for this purpose, the purpose of this type of workout or these movements is to create and build muscle. Got it.
Okay, right. So that was my first round there, and then immediately I went to a dumbbell. I believe it was incline press. Okay, so I grabbed 50s for that, and I used 50s the whole way through. And again, I was able to get it up, and on my very, very last one, I needed a spot to get to, I think I ended up getting to 7. on my last one with the 50s. So how do you, and then so I should be able to do the 50s incline bench press and then pump that up so I can do 10 all the way across before I move up to what, say 60s, or gonna go to 55s, 52 and a halves.
It's all going to depend on how you're feeling, right? It's just you'll start to know where you're at. You're always testing yourself because everybody's going to be different, and so you might be able to try putting 10 pounds up, 5 pounds up, depending on what you feel, right? You'll know you'll just do that first. The first set is going to be the one that's going to let you know, right? So let's say you said you did what was your base weight?
155.
155. So let's say the next time that you're back, after your rep days, you come back to that muscle group, and then so you're hitting that muscle area, and now what you're going to do is you're going to test yourself and see where you're at, so then you add yourself 10 pounds and see what happens, right? See if you fail, see where you fail, right? And so if you fail at 2 or 3, then it's still a little bit too much. Maybe you just want to add another 5 pounds, but it shouldn't be like that. You don't get like that until you start getting into some real weight, right? So it should be somewhere between 10, 15 pounds, something like that. You'll fill it out. The whole idea is you want to stay over 5, and between 6 and 10, right? That's the whole idea. And so as you're building.
Got it.
And then the biggest thing is again, what are you feeling after what are you feeling after the doing it this way? You were doing it a certain way, right? So now, how are you feeling?
I was thinking, like right now, I feel great. Like it didn't, like I'm not, like during the workout, I was definitely getting the pump. I've definitely felt it, but now I feel great. I don't feel like I ripped anything or I tore anything. Like using those auxiliary muscles, I was able to use the right muscles, and I didn't have to use any of those auxiliary muscles to break or stretch any of those. You know what I mean? So I'm not in pain at all, but I feel like super pumped, and I know I'll be super sore because that was a good workout. That's how I felt about that one.
And that's how we gauge. We'll know. We know how we feel because our muscles will start screaming at us, right? Arnold talked about how they screamed, and I never really understood what it meant until I started doing it myself. It's like they scream. The muscles absolutely start telling you, like, oh my gosh, what is this that you're doing to me, right? And so you're just adding pressure and tension to an area that, and then you just think of them like as rubber bands, right? The rubber bands, you're just stretching the rubber bands and you're putting pressure on the rubber bands. The only difference is that the rubber bands, you're just creating more strings of bands. You're creating more strings of bands because that's what our muscles look like. Our muscle fibers look like strands, right?
Right.
And so you're just creating more strands, and so now you're creating more muscle, more strands, more muscle fibers to be able to deal with the pressure of whatever weight it is that you're pushing.
Okay.
Right? So,
and then next thing that you told me to do was take it in 30-second intervals, and I did that like almost to the T, and it felt good. It was like the perfect amount of time. Like I had enough rest, and I was able to still get those reps up, and I felt, like I was pumping, I was moving. Yeah, I was breathing hard. I was sweating all over my stomach and all that. It was great.
Right. And it's important. It's good because the reason that 30 seconds, it's been they figured it out, right? The science behind the method here is that the 30 seconds is that because you want to give yourself a little bit of a rest, but enough to where it's recovery. You're giving your muscles time to recover, but not really. Because what happens is that what you want to do is on your next rep, you want to activate new muscle fibers, right? So you just tore into the muscle fibers that you already have you already use those muscle fibers to get into that movement. And now you're giving yourself 30 seconds of a rest time, but it's just enough time to recover, but not too much where it's your muscles relax, because you want to keep that muscle. You don't want to keep the muscle relaxed. You want tension all the way through.
Yeah.
And so you don't want to get into a relaxed state, because it's not time for relaxing right now, right? So 30 seconds, boom, and then go.
Okay, so this is muscle building 101.
Basic. It's real basic.
Super basic. This is like taking it back to high school, it seems like. Yeah,
you can. Yeah, because you're working, major muscle body parts, right? But there's then you start getting into technique, and you start getting into posture and form. Those things are really, really important from the very beginning. And that's why it's important to stay, especially if you're new, the basics, right? The basics. A lot of the times you get people, going to the gym, and you see it all the time. Just, it's crazy. It's crazy. They're picking up 75 pounds, and their whole body, they're throwing their whole body to try to get the 75-pound dumbbell up. And sure, maybe they're doing it, but they're not working out the muscle that they're supposed to be working out. The whole point is to work out the muscle that you're working out. What's the point of just throwing up weight?
Right. Okay. And then, so I think from there, my next workout was an incline dumbbells. Okay. And with those, I believed I used I used the 40s, because at this point I had already done bench press and then incline. So I dropped down to the 40s. And those ones, I made it through like the 10 reps, probably about the 4 times. So on that one, I think I'll be safe enough to say that I can bump it up to the 45s. Or do you want me to see me hitting the 50s for the incline dumbbells?
Well, see, this is the thing too, is that only you know how you feel, and this is the part of training that has a lot to do with being honest with ourselves, right? Are we being honest with ourselves? Because I can tell you this is what I want, right? But if I say go 20 more pounds, what if your body is not ready for that, right? We don't want to hurt ourselves, because again, we're putting a stress on our body, and this is ligaments and tendons and cartilage and all.
But then again, okay, so got that. So you're a trainer, right? You're a trainer, and I'm telling you, hey, Fonz, I think I could do more weight, man. I think I could probably do about another 10 pounds on each arm. So for 50s, I might not be able to do it'll look just like my bench press, and I'll fail. I know I will, but I think I could get those and get some good reps at the same time. Is that what you want to see? Like 5-6 reps on the last one?
Yeah, as long as we're staying within that threshold, right? We want to stay within that threshold, because if we're pumping more iron, then we're pumping more iron. That's how you build, right? You're going to build muscle by putting the pressure on there.
So that threshold should be about between 5 and 10.
I like 6. I like 6 and I mean, if you can stay between 6 and 8, again, the goal is 10. But if your last set is 8, then so be it, right? And this is while you're working. This is while you're exercising, and you don't have someone to spot. You don't have someone to help you out.
Right. I'm exercising alone at this point.
Yes.
I was able to find a spotter two times, I think, for the incline and the regular bench press, flat bench.
Right.
And then everything else I wanted to do lower weight, so I was able to put up, the right type of weight. And then
because if you had a spotter, then it would be a different ball game, and then we can do a couple other things, right? But right now we're focusing on that. So for those that are listening or those that, will end up watching or it's not to confuse anybody. It's if we had a trainer with you, then it would be like, okay, do this. And if you're only able to do 7, then let's drop 5 pounds and finish and get those last 3 up. Right. And so, without stopping, we just drop the weight and then finish out your rep, finish out your set. And so, there's a lot more to it, but for now, that's, for those that us that don't have spotters, and this is how we do it.
Awesome. And then from there, I went over to the military style. So I went to the squat racks in the CrossFit area, and I did the bar with just 10-pound weights on each side, and I really focused on my posture and just cleanly putting it from my chest all the way above my head, almost to my shoulders where they're locked out, and then back down. And then I was able to, I think on the very last one, maybe get to like 6 or 8. But that one really felt good. That's normally one that I'm pretty, I've had injuries in the past, but I think since I had been working out, since I've been building, those injuries, I was able to break through them, so they didn't hurt at that weight, for 1. 2, I was able to get the full pump all the way through. And 3, I went to failure on the very last one, and it wasn't too heavy for me that if I failed, putting it back on the rack or something was too bad. So I felt pretty good about that one.
So, Boss, let me ask you a question here. And this is for all of us. This is for the viewers and for everybody that is getting into exercising and getting into wanting to work out and those things. This is really important. So, when we speak of injuries, a lot of the times injuries happen because we don't know what we're doing in the gym. And I'm glad that you're saying that you're focusing on form, right? Because that's the number one thing that we want to focus on. Now, let me ask you a question like this, and this will probably help us. The answer's already there, but let's just ask the question. So when you're doing the military press, what's your focus when you're doing the military press? What are you focusing on?
The viewers will be able to see, but I'm focusing on like that meaty part between your collarbone and your shoulder, and all that muscle in between. So when I'm pumping up, I could just feel like almost the top of my shoulder caps just like ripping, feeling good.
Okay. And that's the biggest thing, is that a lot of guys will get into the gym and they're focusing on pushing weight. And that's the wrong focus. The focus is not on the weight. The focus is on working the muscle and the muscle group, right? So in a military press, we're working our chest. We're still working our chest muscles, right? And so we can get into the technical terms of what the chest muscles are, but that's something that needs to be studied, right? We need to look at, because it's like anything else. I can give you the short-term answer, but it's, if we're really wanting to get serious about what we're working out, there are books out there and tell you what those chest muscles are. And so, the thing is that you want to look into it, right? And so it's like, we want to press. Now, if you have a trainer and someone you want to pay for training, then, we can always go to that too, right? Which is fine. But either way, but the idea behind working out is that we're working the muscle groups, and the weight, sure, it's there, but we just know that the weight is used for pressure against the muscles that we're trying to grow, right? So a lot of the times it happens, especially with us guys, we're like, okay, well, I'm focusing on 2 plates. I want to throw 2 plates on, and I'm just going to do it which way I can. Well, no. An important part of whatever movement that we're doing is that we're doing our movement in proper form, so that way we get the full benefit of working out the muscle that we're trying to hit, the angle and the muscle that we're trying to hit. That's the whole point.
Got it.
There is no other point. There is no other point. Anybody who wants to go, that's why they say, well, what are you doing? Are you lifting weights or are you bodybuilding? Right? If you're lifting weights, I mean, you'll get there too, and you're going to get there with a lot of injuries. There's going to be a lot of injuries behind it because you're putting stresses and strains on cartilage and muscle tendons and bones that you don't want to do. People already done that work. People already gone through all that, and they figured it out in science what the best postures and best forms are for each technique. And so that should be our focus all the time.
Nice. And then, all right, well, that's, I guess, our talk for chest. It's been about 25 minutes. Want to thank you for your time, and, let's do this again soon. How about that?
Absolutely. I appreciate the time, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak out a little bit on it. I'm a holistic health professional by trade. I have a license in holistic health. I graduated in 2002, and so did the National Academy of Sports Medicine. So I have both of those little titles under me, and so it's just a matter of practicing proper form and getting healthy the right way, and practicing proper technique and those things. And so that's what we want to focus on. We want healthy people out there, not injured people, right? So I appreciate the time.
Yeah, no problem. And you also said that you had a massage table, don't you? So you're also a massage therapist?
That's a holistic health professional. Yes, that's what I do. I practice. What our practice is, it's whole. It's a whole practice. So we practice body, mind, and spirit. So body, mind, and spirit in our practice, what we do is we help you with your health, we help you with your spirit, and we help you with your mind. And so it has everything to do with nutrition. It has to do with, also giving maintenance to your body, right? And so that comes through massage. And so, stretching and yoga and those things. So we encircle the whole thing with the holistic, complete practice.
Got it. And then you had me turned on to some vitamins and minerals that you were talking about too. And the name of those was what was it?
You were looking at we like a company called Youngevity. There's a lot of companies out there. There's a lot of people that have really good products. We are focused on a company called Youngevity. Dr. Walsh is the founder of the company.
Dr. Wallach?
I'm sorry, Dr. Wallach. It's Dr. Wallach?
Dr. Wallach, yeah.
Wallach. I always call him Dr. Walsh. Dr. Wallach. And I'm glad that you're studying, because now you're able to correct me there. I appreciate the fact that you've gone out and taken a look at the information. And how was that going for you? I mean, you're on those products now, right? So how's that going? So
I am actually 30 days into those products because I was taking them before, and then just like everybody else, I fell off a little bit. But the one thing about the product is I really felt the difference when I was taking them. So I keep on going back to them, and I keep on going back to them, and I keep on going back to them. I must have fell off maybe about 2 or 3 times, and I keep on going back to them because they are the best. I definitely feel it, and I've been taking them religiously for now 30 days, and I'm on my second round. So they have a 90-day challenge, so I'm going for that. And also, just to also get myself in the habit of getting back into the gym, because I also play a lot of basketball and, other different things. I also got a mortgage business and all that too. So, I got to balance my time, but those, using those, I can really feel the difference. I feel more energetic. I sleep better. Just all around, just a better feeling about myself as well. And the inflammation, it takes away the inflammation.
Right, that's great. And that's the thing too, is that for those viewers out there understanding what Youngevity is a business, it is an MLM business, and you have an opportunity there to not only just use the product, but you can also, make a little bit of money out of it, or not have to pay for your vitamins at all. So there's a lot of different ways that we try to help people. The whole idea, again, is to get people on the right track. And if you have a benefit from benefiting others, why not, right? That's the whole idea. And so, you can always take a look at the web pages that we have on that. We have the information readily available to those. And maybe, Eric, you should put out your email on that, right? Didn't you already create that?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and include it in the comments section.
Sounds good.
Yeah. And then Real quick while we're on nutrition, you know, we do got a little bit more time. Talk to me about nutrition because, you know, I've been hearing, you know, for my body weight, I should be taking in about 200 grams of protein. And I don't really know how many calories that is because I'm not really the calorie counter. However, you know, I do count I do really watch how much carbs I put in. Me personally, I don't put in very many carbs, but I've been supplementing that with a ton of like foliage and, you know, a ton of protein. And my protein is going to come from either chicken, tuna, salmon, or my protein shakes as of right now. Besides that carb day that I had the other day, but I'll tell you all about that later. But for the most part, you know, unless I had like a cheat day, which I don't really take cheat days, it's just I wanted one, you know, like because I had been working and I wanted to make sure my muscles were nice and healthy for yesterday, you know, because I had been working out and I wanted to finish my week strong. So, you know, tell me about what you think about my personal way of eating right now, because personally I feel great, and it could have something to do with the carbs. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll let my body break down and do another experiment on myself, or I can just try to do the experiment of keeping it super lean and super clean without any carbs for right now. What would you suggest as a holistic health professional?
Now, it's important to look at food as what it is and what it's designed for. It's designed to give us energy, right? And so you know, we've gotten into, especially in our country, we've gotten into this habit of eating for taste versus eating for the nutritional factors behind it, right? And so, you know, we are supposed to be eating for the energy purposes. And so, you know, as far as the proteins, you know, it's already been scientifically discovered that it's recommended for us to consume about a gram of protein per body weight, right? So if you know you weigh 10 pounds, then it's 10 grams, right? And then if you weigh 100 pounds, it's 100 grams. If you weigh 200 pounds, then it's 200 grams of protein. Now that's just the protein consumption, and that goes with proper nutrition, right? Now there's a whole thing about that we can talk about, and it's more to it than just the 200 grams or the 180 grams if you weigh 180 pounds. The thing with carbs is that a lot of the diet world will tell you, oh, shame on carbs, and it's like, well, no, it's not shame on carbs, because there's complex carbs out there, and you know there's carbs that are good for us, because we need carbs for energy. Carbs is basically sugar broken down, right? And so, and so depending on, and it's this real basic way of saying it, but the whole thing with the carbs and the carbohydrates is that it's going to give us an energy source, and so we want that energy. We need that energy to be able to go through the stresses that we do in our activities. If we're playing basketball, if especially in high impact sports things, sports like that, you know, basketball, soccer, football, you know, weight training, right, or muscle building, and so we gauge the carbs by how we're feeling energetically. You know, it's like where's our energy level? You know, you'll know, you know, the difference between having energy and not having energy if you take the time to learn who you are. The bottom line is learning who you are. It's not about a diet. It's about a lifestyle. And it's about knowing who you are. And so a lot of times we try to go through the motions, but we don't really do any fact finding on who we are. And nutrition has everything to do with who we are. Like, okay, well, I ate this today. How did it help me throughout the day? What benefits did I get from eating chicken today? What benefits did I get from? Now there's absorption rates and those things too. We can get real technical into it. You know, like I'll give you an example. You can eat, you know, 32 grams of a chicken breast, but it doesn't mean that you're going to absorb all 32 grams. right? And so there's different things that that go into play there. And you get real technical, but we want to keep it basic for those people that are in the basic areas. And then, we can get into real technical, maybe on another chat here, we can really start getting into the technical side of things for those that are already advanced, right? Because there is, like anything else, there's beginners, intermediate, and then expert and advanced, right? So I think that, if you're cutting out carbs right now, well, then you have to, again, how do you feel, right? How do you feel when you cut the carbs out? Do you still have the energy that you had before you cut the carbs?
The reason I ate the carbs this time, because I did not want to leave to chance getting an injury or staying in an injury, state, So that's the only reason I ate the carbs, was for that. I didn't eat it for the energy because I didn't think I needed the energy. But I did eat it just to make sure that, my muscles did have everything that they needed to finish off the week strong, because that was my major goal. Because I knew if I was able to finish off the week strong and I didn't play in pain on Thursday, then I would have completed my goal. So the carbs, I don't know if they really helped or hindered me. I don't really care at this point, because the damage that, at least in my mind, that the carbs would have done would have been, less significant than the actual benefits that I would have gained, or I think I would have gained. So does that kind of answer your question about the way I feel about it?
Yeah. So let me just, help us out here too, just because, of our viewers and those things, right? Just want to get a little bit of and I'm not sure if that's what you were meaning or not, but I'll just, if I'm correcting it or just maybe there's a misunderstanding, but just a little bit of a correction there. The injuries don't come from bad eating. Injuries come from bad technique, improper movements, and bad technique. It doesn't come from eating. 75% of what we do is food. The 25% of what we do is the exercise, right? But it's the damage comes from improper form, and so
which could have been caused by not having enough carbohydrates, or at least broken down sugars in my body at that time when I needed it.
No, because the energy side of it, if form is one thing, and now obviously if you're lacking energy, then you're going to start to try to compensate for that lack, and you're going to start pushing from other areas that need to help you get the weight out of the way, because your body's going to try to help you survive. That's just what it's designed to do. But the food itself is not going to damage you in that way. It's just not going to get you to where you want to look, and then it's not going to help you give you the energy that you need. And so that's what it comes down to. Because you can lose energy in your fourth, you can lose energy in the second set, as an example. But just because I'm losing energy, I lost energy in my second set, I have to, notate in my mind, okay, well, I'm feeling a lack of energy. I know that I can do this because I just did, this last week. I'm able to do this. What did I do wrong? And then you just, okay, so then I need to be able to finish up in my correct form. If I can finish up, and if I failed, then okay, this is why it's important to write down and notate your progress, because it's like, okay, well, why this week I can only I'm feeling this way. I was able to do 10 no problem, I was able to do 8 no problem at this weight, and now I'm at this weight, and now I can only do 2 or 3. Well, then we didn't do something correct in our eating. Something is incorrect in our nutrition, because we're not getting the energy that we need.
Got it.
So that's why it's important to keep notes, because that way you don't blame the lack of you don't get upset because you're not growing. It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with the fact that you didn't come with enough energy, and you didn't get enough energy from the foods that you ate.
Got it. Or using the wrong weights to begin with.
Well, that's why we test, right? At this point, I'm talking someone that's already tested where they're at. Like, you go from week in, week out, right? So, you're talking about the workout you just did today. And so, how you felt. You didn't feel like you had a lack of energy. Well, because you have some carbs, right? So you had energy to pull from. And so, the next time, then it's important to see, okay, well, I ate, let's just say as an example, I ate some Brussels sprouts and I ate pasta as an example, and then you say, okay, well, because I ate the Brussels sprouts and the pasta, one being a complex carbohydrate, and the other one just coming from the grain and sugar side of carbohydrates, you're feeling the difference between, a full the energy that you're being able to put out, and so you'll know, your body will tell you, your mind will tell you, like, I'm missing something. I need something. Your muscles are going to feel like I can do it, but then you just feel weak. And if you feel weak, it's just because of lack of energy. You just don't have the fuel that you need behind it. So how are you fueling your body? Right. So yeah, it takes a little bit of time, but like anything else, just like the weights, just like when you're in there and trying to figure out what's the best tension for you. Right. Yeah. You have to spend a little bit of time notating that, finding out where you're at, and then once you do that, it's just like anything, it's work. Once you figure that piece out, though, and then you're gauging yourself week in and week out. It's easy after that. It's easy. That part is easy, but the workouts are always going to be designed to keep you challenged, right?
Got it. Well, it's about all the time we have for today, Fonz. Appreciate it. And we're at 42 minutes. So again, thanks for your time, and thanks for your approach to everything. And let's hope to do this again soon, huh?
Absolutely, I appreciate it. Again, thanks for the opportunity.
All right, I'll talk to you later, man. Bye bye.
Bye.
Oh, hold on, stay on the phone. This is just for the.
Yeah.